The Knicks post-game show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Karl-Anthony Towns with a monster game tonight, 24-13. Jalen Brunson had 32. And the Knicks live to fight another day as they win it 111-94. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Wally Zerbiak. How about for a defensive performance?
Just impressive, and it showed what this team is capable of. They did it from the beginning, and Josh Hart and company were awesome.
Speaking of Josh Hart, he's standing by across the street with Alan Hahn. Alan, take it away.
Thank you, Bill. All right, well, Josh, it felt like from the very start of this game, there was no way you guys were going to let the season end on your home floor. What was the attitude right from the start?
Yeah, man, we had to come out. The biggest thing was make sure we come out, end that first quarter with a lead, and continue to build upon it. We haven't started games how we kind of wanted to in this series and really in the playoffs. So we knew we had to do it from the jump.
The two stars obviously showed up and they put up big numbers. But how about what you got off the bench from several different people now over the last couple of games, but especially in this night?
Yeah, man, it's about effort. When you have mental lapses, the next man's there to pick it up. And that's what it is to be a team and be on one accord, man. We don't care who gets the love, who gets the shine. We just want to win at the end of the day.
All right, so last thing here is, has the momentum shifted now? Is there pressure now on them because they go home, and if they don't win, they have to come back here?
Man, that's for y'all to talk about. Our biggest thing is to watch film tomorrow, get better, and end the first quarter in Game 6 with a lead.
All right, great stuff. Thanks very much, Josh. Bill?
Alan, thank you very much. So 94 points for the Pacers, fewest they've scored in these playoffs. And Tyrese Halliburton only took 7 shots. That's the fewest shots he's taken throughout these playoffs. How did he only get off 7 shots?
It was the Knicks' defense, their aggressiveness, their connectivity. It was just amazing. And the game of basketball, it's just like a head-to-head. Who wants it more? And you could see that the Knicks were doing everything with that little bit more aggressiveness, attacking, just keeping the Pacers a little bit off. And that's what you have to do against this team. If you let this team find their flow, find their rhythm, and not be uncomfortable and let them play comfortable, they will blow you out of the gym because that's how they like to play. But if you get them off their spots a little bit, if you make them start their offense a little bit further out than they're used to, if you make them veer out off those screens and not just go straight to the basket, the angles of passes, the shots, the way they come, they're not as much in rhythm. And the Knicks completely disrupted an amazing offensive team. They showed they had the capability to do it. They did it against Boston when they closed them out in Game 6 in the first round. Now they have to do it on the road in Indiana on Saturday.
Indiana never led. A wire-to-wire win for the Knicks. Look at the scene. Summer stage in Central Park. That's a happy crowd, and they hope they'll be able to watch a Game 7. And for that to happen, the Knicks have to win at Indiana on Saturday on Game 6. Jalen Brunson, how about the start to this game?
Yeah.
We talked about the start. Last game, Knicks gave up 43 first-quarter points. Tonight, the Knicks gave up only 23 first-quarter points, and Jalen Brunson started the game, Wally, with 6 straight points. He ended up with a huge 14-point first quarter, and he did the same thing in the third quarter. He was really at his best in the beginning of the first and third quarter, and we always talk about that being 2 key sequences in every game.
He took it upon himself to just be fed up with the plus-minus of the starters to start the games. He said, I've had it. We shouldn't be digging ourselves a hole every single first quarter. And he said, I'm just going to be ultra-aggressive. I'm looking for my shot every time I touch it, and I'm going to get buckets. And he is going against a compromised Aaron Nesmith. And it's going to show up in this series. Nesmith was amazing in Game 4, the adrenaline of his home crowd. But he is not the same player with that ankle injury. Jalen has to attack him at every opportunity. He can't let this team off the hook by getting rid of the ball and not looking to push and pressure these guys. I love the Knicks made an adjustment too. They were setting him screens in the backcourt. They were setting him screens right over half court. They were giving him help dealing with that pressure. Karl-Anthony Towns was running into the backcourt. Bridges was running into the backcourt, getting those guys off him for 94 feet. That works wonders for Jalen Brunson, having more room to operate. But now the Knicks have to be ready for adjustments to be made by Indiana, because the Knicks made outstanding adjustments. The way they picked up Halliburton further up, the way they screened for Brunson further in the backcourt to give him extra room. Indiana's going to make some adjustments at home, and the Knicks got to be ready for him.
All right, so Brunson, 32 points, 14 in the first quarter, 16 in the third quarter. Alan Hahn back with us across the street. Al, let's get your take on the Knicks defense tonight. It was absolutely fantastic.
Look no further than winning the turnover margin, which is what we talked about as one of the keys to the game in the pregame show. And they were able to force turnovers. The Pacers had not turned the ball over. The Knicks defense has been a team that can turn you over and turn them into points. And that was a huge part of the game. That defense, it was stifling. They took the pain away. You saw Tyrese Halliburton came off a career game in Game 4, and he was an absolute no-show. They took him out of the game. They kept making sure that he saw bodies and felt bodies everywhere he went, and it really disrupted their offense. So to me, the Knicks did still have too many turnovers. I mean, they still got to 15, but forcing 20, that's a huge number, and that is certainly something that they need to build off of.
Yeah, Alan, that was an exciting performance. Gives you a lot of optimism for this Knicks team going into Indiana. How do they put all the puzzle pieces together and get this win in Game 6?
It's the effort that you saw, the second and third efforts that Tom Thibodeau talks about on the defensive end. It starts certainly there. And the Knicks shot the ball well, but you still had, it wasn't as if they shot the lights out. This was a hard work kind of win, which was important. But to hold a team like the Pacers under 100 points. It was one thing to hold them to 100 in the Game 3 win, but to keep them under 100, that's saying a lot. And I also felt like the Knicks did a really good job answering every push the Pacers had in the second half. They got it to 20, cut it to 10. Knicks pushed back. There were a couple of times, we all remember, it was a 17-point lead early fourth quarter, and everybody around me here on the court was thinking about, talking about Game 6. I said, hang on a second. We were here Game 1. It's not over until you hear that final buzzer or Carlisle sends in the bench. So I think the resiliency of the Knicks and making sure that they keep having these pushbacks, that's important. And Wally, you said it, playing with a lead. I remember we talked about this in the pregame, how important it was for the Knicks to play with a lead at the very start and then make sure they were the team being chased. It was a lot, I think, better for the Knicks to do that. Now, they were home. They had the home crowd. Can they do it on the road?
All right, Alan, we'll see you when you come back to join us here in the studio in a couple of moments. Wally, Karl-Anthony Towns, I thought key second quarter with Jalen Brunson resting.
Yeah.
Towns scored 12 of his 24, and with Brunson out, the Knicks outscored the Pacers 18-11 to build on their first quarter lead.
Yeah, he's adopted a nice little feel with that second unit, surrounded by 4 outstanding defenders that can switch everything. They all know we're getting the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns every single possession. We're going to let him go to work. We're going to space the floor for him. He is going to become the point center, the scoring center, the do-it-all center. And Pacers have no answer for him, and that's been evident the whole entire series. Another monster, 24 and 13, 3 assists, just skill level through the roof. Knee looks good, and that's a big thing. I think health in a series like this, with how physical it's been, with how long the season is in the playoffs, they get grueling. And the fact that the Knicks are going into this Game 6, for the most part, it looks like these guys are as fresh as you can possibly be. That's a really good sign for this New York Knicks team. And those two, you got to remember, they were top 10 in MVP voting. The Knicks have 2 guys that were all-stars and 2 guys where they were top 10 in a 30-team league in MVP voting. I mean, they are superstars personified. They are the 2 best players you can argue on the floor. And it's not even, Halliburton's right there, yes. But those 2, as far as the league looking at them, they would be the first 2 picks in a pickup game, I think, for most guys. So the Knicks have to find a way to figure out how to get them to play to their max potential each game, and they found it with Brunson going off in the first quarter, and then when Brunson's out of the game, let Cat do his thing with the second unit, which has been dominant in this series.
Only one Pacer starter, Wally, scored in double figures. Siakam had 15. Nesmith, 3. Turner, 5. He was not on his game. Mentioned Halliburton, took only 7 shots, 8 points. And Nembhard, only 6 points.
And that's what you have to do with this team. This team, they like to just not be bugged. They like to not be knocked off their spots. They like to be ahead. They're not the type of team that's going to grind out wins. The Knicks, if they can show them that we're not going to let you get whatever you want, we're not going to let you shoot 50, 40, 90 from the field, from three, and from the free throw line, this team does not want to play ugly basketball. The Knicks have to do this in Indiana. It's not easy because this team is the best offensive team we've maybe historically ever seen in the NBA, but there is a way to knock them a little off their game, and the Knicks showed how to do it tonight.
Knicks started with such incredible defensive intensity, carried it through the entire game, and they forced a Game 6 Saturday night at Indiana.